Alright, hello you buggers. So here we go into Mould Your Knob Part 2. Mould Your Knob is not a new game show on BBC. Maybe it should be. So this has had, a few days to go off. You can see I didn't quite sit it on a level surface because it's slightly off. But that's okay. I'm not too worried about that. So we're just going to release it really and just see where we are. What should we use? Something relatively blunt. Let's use that. So I'm just going to work that silicone off. This was just basically just to help prevent any leakage. It probably didn't need it. The only problem is it's kind of tricky to add it later when everything is all started leaking out through the gaps. And you can block stuff with bits of plasticine or something, but they can get a bit messy. Okay, so let's just gently tease this apart. I'm trying to keep it all together because I'm not actually taking the silicone out the mould. That's what I want to do, is want to try and get in underneath the sellotape. Oops. Looks like there's going to be a little bit of rebuilding Lego. Right. Okay. I know. Let's see how that's doing. Let's just build all that back up again. Let's come at this a slightly different way, because we have this protective coat over the perspex. Now maybe I can just use that to pry it up. I'm not too worried about damaging the surface of the perspex because I can use it for something else. Here we go. Go back together. Right. Right. Be interesting to see what's going on in there as well. Right, there we go. That's off. Put that to one side, in amongst all my other crap. Okay, so I'm just going to gently squish all the Lego pieces back together again. And then ooh, there we go. Right. And unfortunately, double-sided. Sometimes it's just a little bit too tough. Yeah, that hasn't actually gone off yet. Ooh. It's enough to You have to hold everything in place. So part 2 is yet to come. I mean, I won't upload this yet. I'll give this a little bit longer to go off. Some of it's gone off. It just seems to be a few little bits on the surface. It could be, if I'm being honest with you, it could be it's just something in this double-sided that he doesn't like. In fact, that's what I suspect it is. It's sort of, because it's fine everywhere else. So I'm going to put that to one side for a bit longer. Just let that cure. I just flicked a bit of Lego on the floor. Right, now let's see what's going on with this bad boy. Right. So there we go. That's moulded. I wonder what it's like all the way through. Now, I want to try and get this mould apart. Get rid of all this. Get that mould apart without disturbing it too much. I mean, I could basically push the thing through, but let's just try something a little bit more choppy. I suppose I could have just taken this edge up to my bandsaw, because this blade's a little bit blunt. Here's a very bit blunt. See if we can help it along a little bit. Stronger blade, because that will just snap. There we go. Now then, chances are that some of this in the middle hasn't gone off yet. Yeah, and I can see that. Yeah, it hasn't gone off at all. It needed longer in there. That's alright. Again, just close that up. It will still be a mould, but there, obviously, it just, you can see how far it's got in about 3 days. It would probably taken a lot longer to get all the way through, because there's no way I get into it. I suppose in some ways I could drilled some holes in there maybe. That would have helped the air get in, dry it out. So we'll put that to one side as well. Give that a chance. We got mould number 3. I'd like to get this one cast even though I might be wasting some silicone, but I want to get this cast because this is another knob, but this is going to be for the camera rig, so I can just tighten up the arms. So I'll at least do that. So what I need to do first of all is just need to be able to, because silicone will stick to silicone very well, so you can fill a mould up, and then you can always add some more silicone later and it will grab, it will stick. But obviously there are times when you don't want it to stick, and that's when you're making a two-part mould and you just need two pieces of silicone to separate once it's hardened. I'm not too fussed about how well this mould turns out, because this is just purely utilitarian. There's nothing artistic about this, and I just thought while I was moulding I'd make a mould for this lot so I could cast some knobs nice and easily. I could have made them sometimes you just want to do some things in a different way. Yeah, I could have just like made them out of wood and God knows what. I'm using up my silicone, but I don't care because it's old and horrible. I'm sure if I got another huge drum of it, it will last another 10-15 years. Unless of course I start moulding guitars. That'd be quite interesting. I have thought about that. So I can put that to one side, let that go off. Yeah, and I'll just let that, I'll just put that to one side, put that to one side, come back to them again in a couple of days. Let's start off with this little bugger here. It worked to a point, apart from the fact this silicone stuff for sealing bathrooms, it does exactly what it says on the tube. It's basically just sealed itself to that knob, so ruined. I'll get it to work. I'll figure out a way. I think what it needs is just a bit of some kind of release agent, just Vaseline, something on the actual applied to the knob before we put the silicone in. We'll try this again I will try this again, just because I know if I can get this to work, this would be really useful for people who don't want to mess around with this stuff. Now I know for a fact that this will just peel away, no problem, once that's gone off. Now, I can show you here. I've already cracked into this one. This was my secondary knobbage mould. Now silicon gets kind of sticky on the outside, so it's just useful to just apply some talc to the outside of the mould. I've put a mark in it to line things up a bit, and so there you go. There's the bottom part, and peel this away. Just make sure that's on camera. Boom, there we go. We have a mould, a rather lumpy mould. It's not a very well registered mould. I've got a couple of score lines in there that I can use to line up, but for this one I really don't care. It was just to use silicon while it's lying around. That's going to be a useful mould. Now I noticed when I took took this out of its what do you call that, the mould wall, that the silicon where the double-sided was hadn't gone off in the same way as we've got on this one. But I'll get a rag, a bit of meths or denatured alcohol, some people would refer to it, and we can just clean off that silicon that hasn't gone off quite right. Now I apologise for the state of this workbench. It's getting a little out of hand with all the mucky stuff I'm doing. Right, I could do with a bit more. And like I said to you in part one, that if I'm not too impressed with the state of this mould, I can always do another one with some better silicon. Right, I'm just going to use a brush. Ooh. It's got some powder paint on there, but who cares? Right, let's just give that a little dust in. Because this side of the mould is going to be split away from the other, so I don't need this to stick. Right, so I can take these registration marks out, maybe, if they just pop out. Here we go. I'll just some more talc in there in a second. Yeah, it's all really nasty and sticky with it. This double-sided nonsense has made this very, very nasty and sticky indeed. I don't know why that's done that. I've never seen this before. It just must be something particular in that double-sided. I've got a feeling that's never going to go off right, and it's never going to clean up. But let's see where we go from here. Let's just see if this mould works at all. I'll be quite pleased. I just want to fill in this bit here. You know, where the moulding of these knobs. I've got a bit of a, what do you call that? There's some kind of gap. It's obviously just saving plastic. We don't have to worry about saving plastic. We have to worry about making a nice solid mould. I'll get a sculpting tool in a minute and just smooth that out. Obviously I've got to keep the central core open because I want my silicone to go in there and mould that area. Now, once upon a time I would use lighter fluid to smooth out plasticine. I just can't seem to be able to find any. Our local supermarket stopped selling it because apparently it's dangerous. And what was curious about that was the day I was asking why they don't have it anymore was the same day they had a counter full of fireworks. Oh, this isn't going on very well at all. This sticky silicone is just naffing everything up. So what I could have done before I tried to cast this was actually prepare these knobs beforehand. You know, maybe use some other filler as opposed to just like plasticine, just to like car filler or something, or Bondo as you call it in America. And while I've been doing this and the kitchen strap, I'm still trying to get the workshop sorted out. I could turn the camera around and show you, but it's embarrassing. I mean, you see the state of this workbench. Imagine that. But what's the same thing behind me? I'm trying to sort things out. I've been building my my shop. Basically just like a big cupboard that I can keep all my guitar stuff in while I'm working on things. I don't generally keep guitars in here in the workshop, but you know, while I'm working on stuff. That mess is actually eating into the plasticine a little bit. It probably doesn't help there's a pool of mess in the cavities that I'm trying to fill. You can see it is actually giving a smoothing action. I might have to just let this dry a little bit before I come back and finish this. You know, I'm not actually trying that hard because I've got a feeling that this mould is not going to work, just simply because of this whole horrible sticky nonsense that's going on. Time to order some new silicone. Something else to buy. Just never ends. I think that's one thing that some people don't appreciate when they're buying a guitar from someone who's actually put some work into it. It's just how much money these buggers are spending just on bits and pieces and stuff. I know you guys appreciate it because you've all been watching me and watching other guys. So there we go. I'll put that to one side again, let that dry out, come back to it, clean it up a bit, or throw it in the bin. I'll decide later. Now then, I've built up the wall. The more they go, I'm not entirely convinced that this silicone in here is going to work properly, because this really strange reaction that seems to have occurred with the double-sided sticky tape. I've never seen anything like that before. But in the interests of exploration, I will crack on and we will waste some silicone trying to see if it works. I mean, this one's worked out just fine. It's sticky, even though I've tried cleaning it with alcohol. Or maybe I need to try something else. You know, maybe petrol. You know, something really aggressive. Cellulose thinners, possibly. I didn't want to try using cellulose thinners in here because of the Lego, it would just melt it. If I can get a reasonable mould, I can go with the cellulose thinners to clean that up afterwards, once I've taken the Lego away. But just going to pop some cocktail sticks around the knob or the centre of the knob, when the mould cures, be able to pull these cocktail sticks out, and that will basically just give some kind of vent for any excess casting material to leak out of, as opposed to like spilling out the sides. As I press things together, it should come up through those holes, hopefully. Well, anyway, right, need a mixie stick, I need some silicone. No, you don't really need to see me mixing again. You see me doing a lot of mixing. This could be the one and only YouTube channel that's dedicated to mixing, although I'm sure there'll be loads of musicians out there quite disappointed when they follow the link for mixing and just find me mixing my big silicon mashup. So those that are interested, I haven't uploaded any new videos yet concerning the kitchen strat. That I have been working on it, but it's a process of sanding down, smoothing off, sanding down, smoothing off. Not particularly very interesting at the moment. Just time consuming, really. But once I get to a stage, I will update you all with a new video. Alright, I'm going to pour this and pull the crapola out of it as I go. And there's a lot in there. Right. Here's my cocktail sticks. So I'm working into the areas of detail. Trying to work around the hedgehog who I've got going on in here. Just trying to pull these little white bits out. Oh god, someone just treat me to some new silicone. I wouldn't have to be doing this. You know, this stuff is just so easy to use, as long as you don't use 10-year-old crap like I've got. Ugh. Let's just pick some of those lumps out. Right, leave it like that. See what happens. Alright, I'm going to clean off this bench very soon. It's just getting bonkers. So yeah, part 3 when that's gone off. See you later.